Commonly asked questions. One of them is the takeaway. How do we start the backswing? Sometimes maybe people confuse the takeaway with some of the drills we do. When we talk about this concept of educating the hands, how to get the club head from behind, past, it all happens down here. So we do some drills like this, just to get that feeling of getting away from any pulling from the arms and shoulders. And it looks a bit flicky, but it's all part of the training process, the building blocks of the swing. Ultimately, you then forget about it. You don't try and do these movements independently. I've seen people practice things for too long and it becomes their swing almost, forget it. So we educate bits, forget it. And the takeaway, you maybe have the term one-piece takeaway. What that doesn't mean either is a rigid kind of movement. We want a nice free-flowing action. But it really is as basic as swinging, where there's no conscious movement from the hands and wrists, no picking up. And simply by turning the shoulders, keeping connection, shoulders down, elbows together, and swinging, the club starts to come on that path around the body. It's taking me up behind my head, really. Okay, so the one-piece takeaway is quite simply setting up, connection, and really just swinging the hands away. What actually will happen and what we actually encourage, and unfortunately it seems to have gone out of fashion with modern coaching, which can be too technical, talking about big muscles of the body and so on. But what we actually encourage, if you think about it, you've got a heavy piece of metal there. If I swing my hands back, the weight of the club initially will hold back. It's the drag effect of the club. And you'll see a lot of the good players that we're coaching will actually have that little bit of drag there. Okay, so the takeaway is definitely not, it's not a drill. Let's call it the one-piece takeaway, where everything, this whole unit, the triangle, is rotating around your spine. Okay, with no conscious manoeuvring of the club. Now, as a general overview, what separates the top players from everybody else? The swing, the word swinging, which when you look in a dictionary, is how to get an object freewheeling through space without any outside interference. And the interference inevitably comes from the muscles of the arms and shoulders trying to hit. The top players have trained themselves to let it go. And as one of my guys said to me recently, he said, God, it's taken me an awful long time to learn how to do nothing. And actually, the best players, they're not using any muscular force. Without going into too much detail or showing you how to actually train it, very much for me, the secret of golf, you get two levels, mechanics of the swing. And sometimes you see good players who look quite good. Maybe this technically looks not a bad swing. That was pretty terrible. I've tensed up and hung on to the club there. What we're looking for is how to get freewheeling with acceleration. That's the real word, how to accelerate properly. If you interfere with your muscles, you don't get a nice smooth acceleration, you get a jerky kind of motion. Now, right from the beginning, that soft, we encourage the waggle, and Ben Hogan did, and I don't understand why we don't pay more attention to somebody like Ben Hogan, who became from, let's call it a fairly slow start, to become probably the best ball striker ever. And he really insisted on the waggle, like so. And then actually what you're doing is building up a bigger version of that. Now, once we get the club head moving, what it's actually doing, the momentum, having gone beyond conscious hand action into just a natural swinging movement, the momentum of the club head will hinge your wrists. The secret is to store that energy in the downswing. The word the lag, the late hit, call it storing the energy in the downswing to just let go. That's the secret of long hitting. And just to show you, if I was to swing back and forward, if I go really slowly at the minute, there's no momentum out here. Now, if I go a little bit faster, just there, I can feel the weight of the club head starting to hinge my wrists for me. Now, if I just swing back and forward, a couple of things become apparent. It's very easy to hit the ground at the same depth because you're not changing no depth control change, which comes inevitably from using the arms and shoulders to try and heave at it. So if I just set myself with a nice long triangle, swing back and forward, I can just nip the ball nicely off the surface there. And everyone's going to be the same depth, just scraping the grass. Now, the secret of longer hitting is just go a wee bit faster. And what happens is you multiply up a wee bit faster. And without doing anything, no more power, I'm really getting so much more club head acceleration into the shot. A little bit faster still. I still got that lovely nip off the surface there. So remember, a true swing, proper acceleration, depth control, with absolutely no physical effort whatsoever. Store the energy and let it go.